Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to those joining us online from around the world. We will now begin the Time to Act Forum 2024, Cities Calling for World Climate Action. It's a pleasure to see so many people here today. My name is Atsuko Ishii, and I'm very honored to be the MC for today's event. This forum is organized by the Tokyo Metropolitan Government with support from C40, Cities Climate Leadership Group, and ICLEI, Local Governments for Sustainability. It's my great pleasure to introduce the Governor of Tokyo, Yuriko Koike, who will give the opening address. Ms. Koike, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Koike Yuriko, the Governor of Tokyo. Thank you very much for participating in the Time to Act Forum 2024. Unprecedented heavy rains and life-threatening, extremely hot weather in the face of what has been called global boiling. Promoting decarbonization is the responsibility of cities on the front lines to protect the lives and livelihoods of their citizens. As one of leading large cities in the world and vice chair of C40, Tokyo is not only presenting concrete policies in international arenas, but also consistently putting them into action. Just 2 days ago, we hosted Henka Tokyo 2024. Henka means in Japanese change 2024. A conference that aims to accelerate the social implementation of green hydrogen. Henka, the initial H means hydrogen. And today's theme is Cities Calling for the World Climate Action. Next month, COP29 will serve as an important conference where each nation will discuss their reduction targets for greenhouse gas emissions. Now more than ever, cities around the world must come together, collaborate with national governments and various non-state actors, and take action to shield their citizens from the climate crisis. It is truly time to act. With COP29 just around the corner, I have convened this forum to reiterate this message to the world. I am very pleased to welcome such distinguished speakers here today. And let me conclude my opening remarks with the hope that the discussion will be successful and productive for everyone. Thank you very much for your participation. ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much, Governor Koike. Next, we have a congratulatory video message from Mr. Mark Watts, Executive Director of the C40, Cities Climate Leadership Group.
Hello, my name is Mark Watts. I am the Executive Director of C40 Cities, and I'm really delighted to be joining this Tokyo Time to Act Forum. I love the fact that the theme of the forum is about how cities can really engender global action to stop the climate crisis. And that's the way it should be. Cities are really on the front line of experiencing what this year has been the hottest year ever, some of the most extreme flooding, many cities really on the edge of drought, but also much more positively because of the sheer leadership at the city level. Governor Koike in Tokyo really epitomises this, the willingness of city leaders to work with each other to solve global crises like that on climate. And what I notice in my job is that absolutely there's competition between mayors and cities, but that competition isn't about winning, it's about learning from each other the best way to create green jobs to produce healthier cities and to cut emissions. And lots of great examples I can think of, but Tokyo's cap and trade scheme regulating and retrofitting commercial buildings, being copied by cities right across Asia and around the world. Indeed, I think in North America, New York's local law 97 was very much learnt from that experience in Tokyo and now requires all those famous skyscrapers in New York to retrofit to improve energy efficiency, creating 27,000 new good green jobs in the process. Or a lovely new example that I learned about only today in Mexico City, where they've plastered the roof of one of the largest food halls in the world, and really important that people have access to good, healthy food and vegetables. But that solar power will now be powering a whole new fleet of clean electric buses in one of the most congested cities in the world. And we're seeing not just action at a city level, but taking city leadership to the national level of government. There's something that 74 countries, governments have now come together on called the CHAMP initiative. It was launched at COP28, led by the UAE last year. And it's a commitment by those governments that when they bring to the crucial Brazilian COP30 next year, their new national climate commitments that must meet the Paris Agreement limit of 1.5 degrees of global temperature rise, they won't just be bringing plans from national government, it'll be a genuinely country plan that brings together all levels of government working with cities and provinces to develop it. I think that's hugely important. Cities are playing a big role in that. And there's a Friends of Champ that convenes all kinds of stakeholders together to help those national efforts. We're all going to be convening in forums like this amazing one in Tokyo, but also in U20 in Rio later this year, and COP29 in Baku, of course, all building up to that big climate talks in Brazil next year. But I couldn't agree more with the theme of this event. The time to act is now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Watts. Now we'd like to move on to the keynote speech. It's our great pleasure to introduce Ms. Angelica Nunes, Practice Manager of the Urban, Resilience and Land Global Department at the World Bank. Ms. Nunes, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Honorable Governor Yuriko Koike, Excellency Mr. Garcel Ismailzada, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary for the Republic of Azerbaijan, distinguished speakers and guests participating here in the room and virtual. It's a pleasure to be invited to speak at this important event. On behalf of the World Bank, we thank you for your leadership to combat climate change. I will say a few words about why we believe it's, where do I, should I point it here? Oh, I can't see. It's because I can't see where the slides are. Sorry. That's one. I use this one, right? I pointed where? This. Here? I pointed here? Okay. Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, so I will speak for a few minutes. I want to share with you a few words about why we believe at the World Bank that it's truly very urgent to act now. So it's just we believe that if done intelligently, low carbon and resilient urbanization can lead to more prosperous, inclusive and healthy cities. I will conclude by talking briefly about what the World Bank is doing to support cities around the world to combat climate change, and why we think examples like the city of Tokyo are critical to share the knowledge to make sure that we get there. Thank you. don't know where to. Do you think I can point it to this? I should point it here or here? No? Not this one? Not changing?
Push green button next.
Yeah, but I need to go back, not next. So
Back is red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but okay. So I pointed here, right? Thank you. Sorry. Okay. The global urban population today is four times what it was 50 years ago. And it will continue to increase rapidly, especially in two regions, South Asia and Africa. As the map that you see in this slide shows, urbanization can be a very positive thing, because urbanization is closely correlated with economic growth. While only 50 or 60% of the population in the world lives in urban areas, it represents 80% of the global GDP. But this transition that happened in developed countries many years ago is now happening in the context of climate change. What we are seeing is that the Earth's surface temperature has increased by 1.2 degrees. Extreme weather events are in the news every day. Heat waves, droughts, floods, they're happening more and more and are becoming increasingly frequent and more intense. Sea levels are steadily rising each year, and in some places, this will reach 2 meters by the end of the century. Got it. So cities need to adapt to these changing conditions while they're urbanizing in many continents. They need to, first and foremost, protect their urban populations, but also importantly, they need to protect assets and safeguard development gains. Because we have estimates that show that global damages from flooding are expected to increase 10 times by 2050. Economic costs to cities from sea level rise and flooding could amount to $1 trillion every year. By 2050, we estimate that 800 million people will live in cities where sea levels could rise by more than half a meter. And by 2050, extreme heat in cities may decrease the GDP, meaning all those efforts that the cities have done to increase the growth, the assets, the productivity, are under threat by climate change. At the same time that cities need to adapt, cities need to mitigate their greenhouse gas emissions, which frankly are the origin of the problem and why we are here in the first place. Around 70% of these emissions worldwide are by activities that happen in urban areas. Obviously, it depends very much the country and the city and the context, but roughly around 40% of these emissions are direct emissions from urban areas, while another 30% occur outside urban areas but are caused by activities in urban areas. So it is clear that the battle to combat climate change will be won or lost in the cities. Unfortunately, per capita emissions in urban areas are continuing to grow. It is only in the most developed countries that emissions are going down, of course from a much higher baseline level than other areas. But if you look at the chart, in every region except the developed countries, emissions have grown between 2000 and 2015. Of course, as cities grow, they become richer, they have more population, they consume more, they will emit more. So some places might think, well, I don't really need to decarbonize because my per capita emissions are low. They're not compared to developed countries. Unfortunately, that is not the case. all countries need to decarbonize, not just the developed ones. Particularly also because those countries with low income and lower middle income are the ones that are worse hit by climate change. The population in these countries is far more vulnerable. I want to share these graphs with you. These graphs show that if only high-income countries decarbonize, while low and middle-income countries continue their current trajectories, the graph on the right side, global emissions will be far too high to achieve our targets. So I don't know if you can see properly, but the bottom two blues are the lower income countries. So even if the rich countries decarbonize, we will still be at a level of emissions that we don't want to be. Instead, all countries will need to play their part in decarbonizing, as shown on the left side of the slide. So I think enough doom and gloom for now. We believe that there are reasons to be optimistic. We believe that with aggressive and immediate mitigation policies, urban GHG emissions could approach net zero. Applying existing technologies, cities can get close to zero net carbon emissions. This graph shows the trend line of business as usual. If you look at the red line at the top, that represents business as usual emissions up to 2050. And the colored areas below the red line show how we can bend that curve down through interventions in different sectors. Investments and policy changes related to energy efficiency, improvements in buildings, investments in low carbon transport, use of low carbon construction materials, improved solid waste management, and other actions will allow us to get there. Unfortunately, there are cities like Tokyo that are already doing this, and we can learn from these cities. Another cause for optimism is that, at least for lower income countries, which are the countries the World Bank is focused on, we do not have to choose between addressing climate change and achieving inclusive economic development. Many of the same measures that address climate change can also make cities cleaner, healthier, more affordable, more productive. The local benefits of climate change adaptations are clear. It protects life, which is the most important thing a city can do, but it also protects health, and it protects property, and it safeguards economic activity. All of this has very important local benefits. Mitigation actions also have important local benefits. When we think of compact and coordinated urban development, it not only reduces transportation emissions, but it can also reduce long-term infrastructure costs. Some of our studies have yield results where having a compact city pays for itself in terms of the improvement of transportation that are needed to sustain a compact city. When we foster compact cities, we also additionally reduce the encroachment that urban areas have over agricultural and forest land, and we reduce sprawl. Reducing consumption reduces household energy costs, improving waste management, reduces pollution, and improves quality of life. So, if we say addressing climate change can help with development gains, the reverse is also true. Economic and institutional development, if done correctly, can also be the best way to protect cities against shocks. It makes cities and citizens more resilient. We believe that addressing climate change requires actions by different sectors and at different scales. Local governments, as I said before, have a huge part to play. They can combine investments and policies and they have invested in low carbon modes of transport, coordinate what I find to be the foundational lever that cities have, which is land use. If cities are clever about the way they manage their land, they will lock in the city in a sustainable investment path. They can invest in energy efficiency. They can improve public buildings. When you look at the graph, buildings is one of the areas that can substantially reduce emissions. They can enforce regulation. That's an area where a lot of cities have trouble in the enforcement. But they cannot do everything alone. National governments need to support cities. This is through financing and through facilitating capacity building, knowledge exchanges, and enabling environment, fostering the right enabling environment to allow cities to innovate and to implement climate smart investments. And finally, I want to believe that international partners like the World Bank also have a role to play. Partners like C40, a groupation of cities, they can, and donor governments like the government of Japan can also play a role, sharing their experiences, sharing their knowledge, convening cities and different partners, and providing finance, capacity building, and knowledge. I want to talk a little bit of what we do at the World Bank. I'm not going to bore you too much with this. The World Bank, we primarily do two things. We provide financing. In recent years, the World Bank has provided an average $5 billion a year on financing for climate change mitigation and adaptation in urban areas. And we also have programs like our flagship program, the City Climate Finance Gap Fund, which provides financing for technical assistance. In its 4 years of existence, we've supported around 200 cities with funding for technical assistance for climate action. And the second, and I think it's one that I find very rewarding, is through knowledge. Of course, we publish a lot of reports, we do a lot of analytics. Part of what you've seen in my slides is the result of that. But we do something very interesting, and it's a pleasure to be here in Tokyo because one of our flagship programs on knowledge is in Japan, the Tokyo Development Learning Center. It's a collaboration sponsored very generously by the government of Japan, where we have the opportunity to bring delegations of clients from different parts of the world to learn how cities like Tokyo are combating climate change. What are they doing? What challenges they're facing? And how they are coping. So far, the program has received around 170 government officials from 40 countries, and we hope there's much more to come. I'm very happy and very proud that this month the program celebrated its 20th anniversary. And finally, I think this is, it's saying a little bit of what the things we've learned from Tokyo and how Tokyo is an example. Tokyo and other Japanese cities. When city officials that we bring from other developing countries come and visit Tokyo, they learn from the bold action that the city has taken. They learn that it's important to set ambitious goals, to plan ahead, not just for the next 2 years or 3 years, to take concrete steps and primarily to think how you're going to implement this so that it doesn't just stay in a paper or in a plan. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government Carbon Reduction Program for small and medium-sized facilities is something that our clients have learned a lot and they're trying to replicate. And the Tokyo Green Building Program are also some of the examples that I think we have shared with other delegations. There are also localized programs that are sometimes smaller in scale, but are very powerful, especially for those countries that don't have enough resources. They can think in different levels in different scales. For example, the image we have here is a rooftop park that helps residents. It's sort of the dual ambition of providing an amenity, but also absorbing rainwater, reducing heat, and reducing energy for cooling. There's also a lot to learn from the innovative implementation arrangements. We would like to see cities partner more with the private sector, like Tokyo, to implement the measures they intend to do. Our program, in partnership with the government of Japan and the Japanese cities like Tokyo, allow officials from other countries to come here in person, to walk around Tokyo, to discuss with city officials, and to feel the energy and the excitement of a city like this one. This is how knowledge is transmitted. And at the World Bank, we hope to continue and deepen this partnership with Japanese cities so we can continue to inspire cities around the world to act on resilience and decarbonization. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nunes. Now we will move on to the panel discussion. Dear panelists, please join us on stage. The moderator of the discussion is Dr. Junichi Fujino, Program Director for the Integrated Sustainability Center at the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies. Dr. Fujino, when you are ready, please go ahead.
So, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everywhere you are. Thank you for joining this roundtable. Very much exciting, and then yeah, we are just before the COP29, and then it's a very important momentum to not only talk but also to think about the more actions from Tokyo and from your cities. So today we have 2 rounds, and then but first, I may ask each person to do the self-introduction first, because we'd like to know each other first. So may I ask the city Hanimu-san? So you are from KL, and then you can make some short self-introduction first. Thank you.
Okay. Very good afternoon to all. My name is Siti Hanim binti Abdul Rahman. I'm from City Hall of Kuala Lumpur. Actually, my background is town planner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so then next, may I invite the Dato-Seri Hashimo-san?
Thank you, Fujino-san. I'm Hasni Mohammed, Chairman of the Johor Sustainability Center. Johor is the southern tipmost of Malaysia, next to Singapore. And I was the previous Chief Minister of Johor. And thank you, Her Excellency, for inviting me here today. It was a very meaningful and auspicious event, and we look forward to collaborating more with Tokyo Metropolitan Government. Thank you.
Everybody knows you, but you'd like to have another self-introduction?
Well, thank you very much. I'm Yuriko Koike, Governor of Tokyo, and I'd like to welcome all of you for joining us. Thank you very much. And for your information, we have the population of 14 million, just 14 million. Thank you.
Then may I invite the Dr. Carolina Kawakubo-san?
皆さんこんばんは。My name is Carolina Kawakubo. I'm the director of NRW Global Business Japan. And we are the trade and investment agency of the state of Nordrhein-Westfalen, which is one of the German states with a lot of industrial background.
Thank you very much. May I invite Mr. Evan Felsing-san?
Good evening. My name is Evan Felsing. I am the Minister Counselor for Economic and Scientific Affairs at the U.S. Embassy here in Tokyo, and I'm honored and delighted to be on this evening's panel. Thank you.
Then last but not least, the Dr. Michio Morisawa-san.
Thank you very much. My name is Michio Morisawa. I started the CDP in Japan in 2005, almost 20 years ago. And also I started the PRI in Japan 2010. I encourage Japanese companies and investors to work for the climate change adaptation, ESG investment, and I'm happy to make this kind of progress. And I'm honored to attend this panel today. Thank you very much.
And then thank you very much for your very beautiful traditional dressing. Thank you so much. Okay, so then, now we are relaxing. So we have a 2 rounds, and then just one thing is determined. We try to finish this discussion by 90:10. So we only have 70 minutes, but just it. So I may ask each of you to have a comment, but if you'd like to jump into, please. So any style. Okay. So I would like to have 2 rounds. So the first one is like climate action in urban areas, and then the second round is international cooperation for COP29. Okay. For climate actions in urban areas, already we have a keynote presentation. Thank you very much, Angelica-san. And then we know that there are huge impacts of the climate change. We need adaptation, but of course, we need mitigation. Otherwise, we always need to adapt. It's terrible. So, and then we have many leaders here. So then, just jump into the round, and then, so Honorable Governor Koike, I may call you next, just Governor Koike, but so you already have many leaderships, and then you have the zero emission Tokyo program, also 2030 carbon half project, and then now I know that you try to achieve the goals, but please share your leadership and then also your achievement and then your next to the challenge.
Well, thank you. Now I'd like to introduce what we are doing and what we are aiming. Now, to achieve the goals of the Paris Agreement, cities must take the lead in accelerating efforts for renewable energy and energy efficiency around the world. And Tokyo has set the goals of realizing a 2030 carbon half, which is coming very soon, a plan to halve carbon emissions, and a 2050 zero emission Tokyo. Now, let me introduce initiatives unique to Tokyo. Over 70% of CO2 emissions in Tokyo come from energy use in buildings. Any buildings, high skyscrapers, and also individual houses. And we place great importance of measure for buildings. And so next page, please. And starting in April next year, 2025, we will mandate the installation of solar power generation equipment on new buildings and strengthen a range of programs for buildings. And in preparation for this mandate, we have engaged in ongoing public outreach to ensure the support and understanding of Tokyo residents. while holding extensive discussions with house builders or house suppliers subject to this mandate, and progress is well underway. When we began exploring this initiative in 2021, we carefully examined precedent examples from overseas jurisdictions such as California and New York in the United States, and 7 states in Germany, including your state. As a pioneer in Japan, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government is leading the way with this program. The initiative has already started inspiring city of Kawasaki, next to Tokyo, and other cities in the country. I feel encouraged that effective initiatives are being shared and further developed. We will also strengthen the Tokyo Cap and Trade program for large facilities, which was introduced ahead of others to further search for energy efficiency and promote the use of renewable energy. On top of that, we will improve our efforts for renewable energy and energy efficiency according to building sizes. Just as cars vary in fuel efficiency, residential buildings also differ in their energy efficiency. As an energy efficiency measure, we will raise the certification criteria for Tokyo Zero Emission House to decisively encourage the development of houses with higher energy efficiency performance. For existing houses, the number of existing houses is enormous, but we will further promote energy efficiency by encouraging thermal insulation retrofits and the introduction of storage batteries that can make the most of solar-generated electricity. The power of finance and collaboration with private companies will accelerate the progress towards zero emission. And this fiscal year, we will start investing in storage batteries for power grids, which are essential for expanding the introduction of renewable energy through the Energy Creation and Storage Promotion Fund established through a public-private partnership. And we will build a new financing model that will help realize both the promotion of decarbonization and the stable supply of energy. This is what we are developing and what we are aiming for the future. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a really great leadership, and then actually, I served as chair of the expert panel of the Kawasaki City when we developed the mandate program. And then Tokyo go fast, and then we just follow, and then, yeah, it's a great, the first penguin. Otherwise, we cannot have a second penguin. So, yeah, thank you very much, the Governor Koike again, and then, yeah, please continue your leadership. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, then next, I'd like to invite City Hanimu-san. Yeah, I'm very much happy to have you because I know, I also work together with you for having the city-to-city collaboration, Kuala Lumpur City and then Tokyo Metropolitan Government last 5 years, and then 2 years ago, both cities awarded C40. Yeah. And then, yeah, so, yes, please tell us your current or experience and then a challenge, and then now you have new mayor. Both powerful mayor. Madam Sharifa, she is a former head of the UN Habitat. Yeah, so what's happened in KL? And then please share your story.
Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon to your excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Prior to many other developing nation cities, Kuala Lumpur City Hall announced its audacious goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2050 in 2021. Since 2019, KL City Hall and the Tokyo Metropolitan Government have had a cooperation relationship. In 2022, Saitama City joined as a collaborator city, strengthening the partnership. These three cities are committed to spearheading the region's decarbonization efforts. Because of KL City Hall and TMG's collaboration and idea sharing since 2019, this declaration represents KL's confidence. Our partnership had enabled us to plan and budget the KL City Hall, which has allowed us to convert the building into low carbon structure. We have gained a better understanding of what energy reduction entails for reducing urban carbon emissions and more time thanks to TMG's assistance in exchanging thoughts on our energy survey. Additionally, as a result of this collaboration, we have created a low carbon building checklist, the development roadmap for Kuala Lumpur. In our effort to build livable and sustainable city, as well as carbon neutrality, we have created a number of different master plans to make sure that our action plans are in line with the most recent international sustainability best practices and standards. Key initiatives include promoting the use of renewable energy sources, improving energy efficiency in building, and expanding green spaces to enhance urban resilience. The city is also focusing on developing sustainable public transportation system, encouraging electric vehicles, and improving waste management strategies. Additionally, Kuala Lumpur aims to enhance the environmental governance by adopting smart city technologies and green building certification, which will help reduce energy consumption and encourage sustainable urban development. These collective efforts will enable Kuala Lumpur to become a leading example of all carbon neutral city in the region, aligning with the broadened national vision for sustainability by 2050. One of the other things KL City Hall did after receiving guidance from Japan was to install solar photovoltaic system in building infrastructure owned by the City Hall, such as community complex, bus stop, and hawker centers. We are leading doing this initiative in Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Datuk Sri Maimunah Muhammad Sharif, the new mayor, has acknowledged the roles and efforts played by Kuala Lumpur City Hall in putting the low carbon and carbon neutral city policies in practice. She believes that these efforts should be continued more vigorously in order to KL City Hall to continue being the best example globally. Additionally, the Mayor of Kuala Lumpur has specifically developed three high impact initiatives that will satisfy the objective of the regional decarbonization plan towards net zero emission in 2024 to 2026. These programs are all examples for our declared action. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so then, we need a good leader, but also good runner sometimes. So then, K run a lot from the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and then TMG staffs visited KLs many times to survey the buildings. And then now you know the method. So then, hopefully you can spread it out such method. Yeah, like a Tokyo KL method to the Malaysia or Asia Pacific. So thank you very much for your experience. Okay, so Dato Seri Hashim. I met you last year, November, in Johor. There is the UNFCCC, United Nations Framework on Climate Change Convention, Asia Pacific Climate Week. Johor host the event, and then you support to host the event. And then during that time, Johor Sustainable Center was born with a witness of the state queen, Johor queen, but now she is national queen. And now you are executive chairman of Johor Sustainability Center. You are always quite important. And then you may have a lot of, not a burden, but you may enjoy many challenges. So just 1 year, but what kind of journey you already have, and then yeah, you can share your, you also former governor of Johor, so you also know the very good background, and then what is the challenge now?
Thank you, Fujino-san. And I hope your visit to Johor is always an enjoyable visit.
More than 30 times.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Her Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow panelists. Yes, before me is our representative from the Kuala Lumpur City Council. Kuala Lumpur is the capital city of Malaysia, of course. Most of the activity and happening will definitely be focused at the capital city. And on that note, I suppose Kuala Lumpur City Centre has done a tremendous job in addressing the climate change as well as green per se, Her Excellency. But to add on what Kuala Lumpur City Centre has achieved is for the Johor state, which is located at the southern tipmost of Malaysia, next to Singapore. So we feel that this is an excellent opportunity for Johor to be also as aggressive as Kuala Lumpur City Centre, City Council, sorry, to present our Johor to the world. To the world means to Tokyo. Tokyo is the world. A call for climate action. We fully agree, no question about it. And on that note, I suppose Johor is embracing the call by Tokyo. Time to act is definitely a definite and a precise statement, brave by the Tokyo Metropolitan Government. And for a small state like Johor, we are embracing this call for world climate action with courage, commitment, and conviction as well. We are not just adopting this call, we are at the forefront, championing a sustainable future for all. This commitment to climate change is not new. It is a continuation of Johore's long-standing dedication to preserving our natural heritage. Johor is actually a sanctuary of extraordinary biodiversity. It is very weird. We are located next to Singapore, a very developed country. Johor have a jungle that have 950 vertebrate species and 2,000 over invertebrate species. So we are located just next to the city of Singapore. And you can imagine, Her Excellency. But just don't take my word. Come and visit Johor and immerse yourself with the natural wonders what Johor can offer. And actually, back in 2023, we launched our Johor Green Deal, as mentioned by Fujino-san during the Asia Pacific Climate Week, pre-event subsequent to COP 28, then in Dubai. And at the Johor Green Deal, which is also a green plan for the state, we look at Singapore that requires huge amount of green energy, for the renewable energy, in order to decarbonize their country. And Johor, being a state that has got vast tract of land, and we have a strong infrastructure, the ecosystem is right. We in fact currently, we have about 12 data centers that is being constructed and completed in the state of Johor, where we all know that it requires a huge amount of energy as well as water, for instance. So this Johor Green Deal or the Johor Green Plan is definitely something that will give Johor the opportunity to outline. We focus at 5 main pillars. The first pillar is the energy pillar, and the second one is the transport and mobility pillar. The third one is about land use, nature as well as water, and the fourth one is about low carbon city, and last but not least, of course, is the industry pillars. These 5 areas that we are giving focus will definitely require some sort of enablers in order for it to drive our objective. And among the 4 pillars, we will focus first on the policy and regulation to make sure that globally they will understand Johor very well. In terms, we have a lot of plans, regulatory, and also with lots of clarity to our policies and regulation, so that we could create a conducive environment for sustainable growth. And the other enablers, we will definitely look at technology and innovation to push the boundaries of what's possible. And the third enablers will be human capital development, to ensure that our workforce is equipped with the skill needed for green economy. And the fourth is the green financing, to fund our sustainable project that will definitely drive real change. So once we have the Johor Green Deal with its pillars, meaning the area of focus, and we know the enablers to drive our green plan, Johor created what I currently chair is the Johor Sustainable Center. The center which will coordinate, that will cooperate with countries like, or cities like Tokyo, and few other countries that we feel that we could learn, share knowledge, that we could collaborate in terms of technology and innovation. We could probably collaborate in many areas in order to achieve the objective of adaptation of climate change, as well as to be at the international networking in order to get the best practices in order for Johor to also to be able to move forward. So Fujino-san, that would be my initial introduction. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your also. I feel you are quite big energy to run a lot of things to make your Johor sustainable and then zero carbon. And so then, I think everybody want to be happy to support you. And so, okay, let's continue discussion. Okay, then next I'd like to invite the Carolina-san. I know you are Japanese very excellent. I'm so surprised when I met you. And so you are like a bridge between like North Line, Westfalen, NRW, and also Japan. Yeah, and so as Governor Koike mentioned, your state is very, eager to push the decarbonization policies, even though I know that the your state may have coal industry sometime last 20, 30 years, but you have the transition. Just a business side now needs such the movement. And so please share your the story and then what kind of green policies are happening in NRW.
Exactly. Thank you very much. So those of you who are not familiar with North Rhine-Westphalia, it's a region. It's one of the 16 states of Germany, and it's one of those with the biggest industrial background. So we do have big cities like Cologne, like Essen, Düsseldorf. But as you pointed out, our history is very much in traditional manufacturing and coal industry, steel. So it's a region that very much needs that change because those are all industries that need a transformation. And North Rhine-Westphalia actually is the first state and the first region within Europe that has set its ambitious goals to become climate neutral by 2045. And of course, this is a huge task. And what I would like to point out is that it's really not automatic. And I think the question here is, for all of us, how do you create that kind of environment that sustainable solutions will work? And I say that from North Rhine-Westphalia point of view, we have a couple of different approaches to this. First of all, of course, you have to work with a combination of solutions, right? So for North Rhine-Westphalia, this will include hydrogen, especially green hydrogen, which is also, I think, one of the pillars of the Tokyo approach. Of course, also solar power, photovoltaic, and also wind power. Like nowadays, if you drive through the state, you see a lot of wind power as well. But the problem is that usually those technologies tend to be more expensive than what's already on the market. So I believe we have to find solutions, how to push and to pull this kind of solutions. So our state, we work first of all with subsidies, because in order to get those technologies on the market, you have to support new companies, new development in those kind of areas. The second thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about is, of course, regulation, because actually the companies appreciate regulation. Our experience is that when we talk to high-tech companies, they often say, we do have those technologies, but we have to have planability. We have to know how the regulation is moving, so they can anticipate that there is going to be a market in the future. So it's very important to signal through regulation that, for instance, there is going to be a market for hydrogen in the future. And the last point I would say that's very important is the approach to really scale up and create a market. Because again, with our technologies, oftentimes we do have points of solutions that work. We do know how to produce hydrogen. We might have a technology where we can use it, but we don't have that infrastructure yet, and we don't have the market yet. And that is the other part that we are really heavily working on, scaling it up so those kind of technologies will be also economically feasible. And I believe that this is really crucial, that sustainability will not work on subsidies alone. You have to change the market to a degree that the industry can work with it and it is actually feasible economically to sell. And the last point I would like to make is also the importance of knowledge sharing and research. Our state, luckily, is very well positioned in that regard. We have more than 70 universities and research institutions. So there's a lot of collaboration going on between industry and research as well to work on new solutions. Because again, we have to be honest here, with our solutions currently, it will be difficult. So we really have to speed up here what's possible. And this is also an area where I see a lot of synergies between Japan and Tokyo in particular, and our state as well, because we do have really great talent, we have great research institutions, and those are problems we can only solve together. So I think this is the key, really, to collaborate and to work together on creating those markets and to creating new solutions that will help us all.
Yes, thank you very much. So such a change cannot be happen only like no design. So I think we need good design, also good vision, also the good collaboration like researchers and then It's still, I think, still we have time. I'd like to share one more story. For example, the Kuala Lumpur city or Johor state, these cities planning or also zero carbon plan actions are supported by University Technology Malaysia. Here is a Professor Ho Chin Shong. And then, yes, his university or Malaysian university or international university supports the Malaysian the action together with Tokyo Metropolitan Government or any others. And then, you are junior high school mate, each other. We need such human network and then also, but especially good design. And then, so, brothers, thank you sharing. Thank you, Carolina-san, sharing the very important point. And also, so then, Evan-san. So in your country, US, federal government contribute a huge for the global the climate, the discussions last years, and also city level. I know non-state actors very active. The cities or universities, our business side, and then so yes, please share any new trend or any existing trend, and then how the federal government want to support a city or any other non-state actors challenge initiatives.
Well, thank you. Let me start by saying that from day one, the Biden-Harris administration has treated climate change as an existential threat, and a threat that demanded concrete, robust action. And that's why in August of 2022, President Biden signed into law the Inflation Reduction Act, which was the single biggest climate initiative ever passed by the US Congress. Truly a groundbreaking piece of legislation. It provided $370 billion of investments that really underpin our own green transformation and help the United States remain a leader in green manufacturing, green technology, and green innovation. And while the IRA has helped underpin a clean economy in the United States, let's be clear that it is government-enabled, but really private sector-led. And to get to a point one of the earlier panelists mentioned, one of the key points to that is that many of the tax credits and other incentives that are embedded within the IRA have a shelf life of 10 years. So it provides the predictability, the certainty for companies to make long-term strategic investments in the green transformation. So that's really critical. And also, the IRA helps, to get to your earlier points, support a lot of the really innovative things that are happening at the subnational level, right? Governor Koike, I was very pleased to hear you reference the example of New York and my home state of California, where there's a lot of innovation going on, and they've really been at the forefront of doing some really pretty remarkable things, whether it's the solar mandate that you referenced earlier, fuel standards, or in the case of New York Climate Act, which set a very ambitious target of reducing economy-wide greenhouse emissions by 40% from their 1990 levels by 2030. So they're really taking a leadership role in that area. But it's not just the coastal areas of the United States that have benefited from the IRA. And in fact, an interesting point is over 58% of the green jobs that have been created by the IRA have actually taken place in our so-called red states, including Oklahoma, Kansas, and other places. So really, it's really, and that's not an accident. That's by design. And in fact, the IRA was intended to align with another initiative called Justice 40, the Justice 40 initiative, which intended that 40% of investments in green energy and infrastructure and sustainable housing went to disadvantaged communities, communities that had borne the brunt of environmental pollution, communities that had relied historically on fossil fuels to make sure that the benefits of the IRA and our green transformation were spread evenly throughout the country. To date, already $118 billion worth of loans and subsidies have reached those communities. So it's really been transformational in a lot of areas. So a very important point. And then just one final element that since we're in Japan, Japanese companies have also been able to benefit from IRA tax credits. So we've seen massive investments by Panasonic, for example, in Kansas, helping to develop battery plants there that will help power the green transformation. Toyota, of course, doing their EV work in North Carolina is another example. So there's a lot going on at the subnational level. It helps reinforce what we're doing at the federal level. But again, as the governor mentioned, a lot of the best ideas really do come up from the cities and various municipalities. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Inflation Act is quite powerful, and then also it's well designed for the red color or something. But anyhow, now we are talking about more on a business side too. So Morisawa-san, thank you for waiting. And so you are the more related to the business side, and then also a lot of things happening in the cities, and so. But still, we need the more challenging to achieve 1.5 degrees. So how do you expect that the city side to get more action from the perspectives of the business side, and what kind of expectations?
ありがとうございます。
Thank you very much. I heard that there's a translator, so let me speak in Japanese. So in order to reduce carbon dioxide, to limit the temperature increase to 1.5, we are working hard, and everyone knows that. And I'm wearing kimono. And before the Industrial Revolution, people used to wear kimono all the time. But to make kimono, we are using electricity, not candles. And this summer, it was very, very hot. Maybe if you were in Tokyo, you know that without air conditioning, you could not survive. In that heat of the summer, I felt very frightened to imagine that we might have a power outage because of typhoon. So we need the power from renewable sources. And if you can generate the power at home, that's quite encouraging when you think about the disasters. So as the optimal solution, I hope that I think that it is wonderful that Tokyo introduced the PV rules ahead of Japan. I understand that the PV has been introduced in Germany too, and solar, biomass, geothermal, land, offshore wind and onshore wind. We can think about using electricity from renewable sources depending on the characteristic of the geography. So local communities need to think about what would be the best solution for them, and they need to take action. And I think Tokyo can lead that effort. The mandatory introduction of PV would encourage other cities to tackle this issue, and it will lead to a long-term technological innovation. So the solar power can be very unstable, so energy storage is also important. For the investment, it's very important that you have a certain level of visibility in the future. So the policies can create the future through the regulation and so on, just as the Carolina-san and Felsing-san said. The most effective policy is the energy storage, and it's very important to think about how we can use finance. Finance can encourage the actions for change. Tokyo is an international financial hub, so I'm very happy to see the actions of Tokyo, and the businesses and investors together may find this a great opportunity for them to make a move forward.
Thank you very much for very powerful message and then the leadership or to show the visions and then to make the action policies is quite important to the things happening and then so maybe we may go to the second round and how to accelerate this kind of action toward the COP29. Just 2 weeks, some weeks later, we will have COP29 Baku, Azerbaijan, and then but on the other hand, we may need more action to achieve 1.5 degree. Otherwise, we have a 2.1 or 2.8 the temperature rise, even though we have all the NDCs at this moment. So Governor Koike, and so you already visited COP
28?
27.
27.
Yeah, 2 times. And then,
before I was the Minister of the Environment, so I visited and I have participated many COP conference.
Yeah.
Yes. And it never ends. And consume a lot of energy because it takes so long and well, even it's 24-hour discussion. It's very consuming.
Yeah, especially when you are minister, it's very tough negotiation. So.
Right, it was Kyoto Protocol was the keyword at that time.
Yeah.
Do you remember the word? Yes.
Thank you for your negotiation. So now we have such a good framework. And so you are like a COP expert.
No, I'm not an expert, but yes,
I'm
one of the umbrella members. Yes.
Yeah. So how do you like to contribute? How do you like to expect COP29?
Yep, thank you. And I have had the opportunity to participate, as I mentioned, that in COP over the past not only 2 years, but many years. And as a governor of Turkey, yes, 2 years. I mean, 2 times. And at COP28 in Dubai last year, the local climate action summit was held for the first time to gather city leaders. It was very meaningful. And I highlighted the critical responsibility and role that cities must play in taking a global crisis at this historic summit. And in international arenas like COP, I have consistently presented a vision for the future of cities to the world. And one of the most important new technologies right now is a next generation solar cells, which could turn cities of the future into power generating hubs. The weight of the solar cell developed in Japan is approximately 1/10 that of an ordinary silicon solar cell. It's very light and very thin and very flexible. You can feel it. Yes. And its thin and flexible design offers exceptional versatility and making it suitable for installation on uneven surfaces such as building exteriors and even car roofs, or even hats. And I believe that this technology will be a game changer in the pursuit of decarbonization. And the world's first private project has begun in Tokyo, in which next generation solar cells of over 1 megawatt will be installed on the exterior of a high-rise building. And since the technology is expected to continue developing, Tokyo is conducting its implementation verification at port facilities and other locations to support its introduction. And I will participate in COP29 held in Azerbaijan next month in Baku. I'm looking forward. And at the conference, I would like to show the world the city's vision advancing toward a carbon hub and beyond, referring to the results and knowledge gained at today's forum. Tokyo's goal is to contribute to the realization of net zero, not only in Tokyo, but also throughout the world. And we have collaborated with local governments in Johor to decarbonize buildings. And since 2019, Tokyo has cooperated with Kuala Lumpur in decarbonizing society. And listening to the speeches of the two local governments today, I feel encouraged that your efforts are accelerating even further. Yes. And we will continue to work with you and do our best to fully bring out the potential of cities through international cooperations. In addition to to combat the climate change, but we are sharing experience and technologies to control rainfall in Kuala Lumpur, and we have already signed the MOU with Kuala Lumpur to share the experience and technology to it's not so easy to control rainfall at all, but to control and manage the quantity of rainfall, yes, to prevent flooding. So we always keep in touch to share, yes, the experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So not only mitigation side, but whole adaptation side, these kind of collaboration already happening. And then, yeah, and then thank you very much. Again, you will visit COP29 and then show the leadership. Thank you so much. So I may slightly change the order. Okay, so next, Evan-san. Okay, so then now I would like to listen to your reaction to Governor Koike's leadership. And so you are in Tokyo because you are in an embassy, and then you have a good collaboration with the Japanese government or the Japanese local government. And then how do you like to work together further? And then what kind of the expectation? How do you like to contribute to the like a collaboration with the Japanese or Tokyo or Japan or Asia Pacific?
Well, thank you. Maybe I will build on Governor Koike's remarks regarding the upcoming COP29. And of course, I talked a little bit about the Biden and Harris administration's domestic record, but they've also done a lot internationally. And we view COP29 as another opportunity to really accelerate global progress on climate change, and then to implement many of the historic things that were accomplished at previous COPs. For COP29, we really have two main things that we're looking to accomplish. The first of which is to promote ambitious 2035 climate targets to keep global warming under the 1.5 degrees Celsius limit, but also to mobilize additional climate financing resources to get to the financial part that has been discussed earlier. A lot of that, of course, will occur subnationally, as I mentioned earlier, and recognizing the importance of subnational diplomacy. The State Department 2 years ago created a subnational diplomacy unit that is now headed by our ambassador for city and state collaboration, Nina Hochigien. So Ambassador Hochigien has made climate cooperation at the subnational level one of her top priorities. And in fact, at last year's COP, attended a meeting that was organized by the government of Japan with other members of the G7 to talk about subnational climate cooperation. So that's a great mechanism for us to continue cooperation with like-minded partners. Before I go any further, I would like to, again, congratulate Governor Koike for her very visionary approach to climate change, again, on things like the solar mandate and offshore wind development. These are really critical areas that can show that Tokyo is a leader, not only here in Japan, but for municipalities around the world. We were also very pleased that the governor attended last year at COP28, a panel of governors and mayors hosted by the Subnational Climate Action Leaders Exchange, the SCALE initiative, and your powerful message, especially your description of the Carbon Half initiative and all of the great things Japan is doing on sustainable building technology, were really inspirational and well received. So thank you again, Governor, for that. Again, looking forward to this year's COP, the SCALE initiative, the same initiative, will be holding a follow-on event in Baku, and we will look forward to launching a new zero emissions and resilient buildings accelerator at COP29. So that's something to look forward to. But we'll continue working through many different channels, but subnational cooperation is critical for making progress on these issues. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I just come upon the election, but I believe U.S. leadership. Yes, I believe. Sorry about that. Okay, next, I would like to ask Carolina-san. So, yes, yeah, I heard that you have MOU between Tokyo and then your company, your organization, and then you support the SMEs, small medium enterprise, and then. So can you tell us the background why you have such MOU or why you have such collaboration with the, especially the SMEs, and then also how do you look for the COP29?
Yes, thank you very much. So the reason why we have this focus on small and medium enterprises is that those companies, first of all, tend to make up the bulk of the industries and businesses, actually both in Japan and Germany. And if you look at the real large companies on both our countrysides, they are usually already quite internationalized, they have very complex research institutions, they can go global without our support. But it's very important that we also, and especially support those small and small companies. And I think, for instance, startups, I think are a great source also for innovation, also for sustainable solutions. The problem is that usually those kind of enterprises don't have the know-how to spread that kind of technology and to go global. So what we're doing is we help, for instance, small and medium-sized companies, also many of them from sustainable technology backgrounds, to find solutions that work in the European market. Because oftentimes you have to think about what kind of technology might work, and you have to just tackle very typical international, activities like getting a visa, finding a location, finding maybe, legal support, and we support those kind of companies going international. As for the future outlook for our collaboration, I think what we can really leverage on is the population density in both Tokyo and in our region. Because as I pointed out, what's really important is that we get this market scaled up, that we get some prototypes running, that we have some business cases where we show that this actually works. And we just saw the very impressive example of the solar panels. I think this will only spread on the national level if we create those kind of scenarios in a smaller scale. But Tokyo, especially as a city, and NRW, I think are very well positioned to be the first lab ground to get this running. And I think really showing that there's a business case for this can really help our both countries and regions to leverage this as well. So knowledge exchange, of course, here is crucial because, as I also said, I think a lot of technologies really have to be refined in order to get this running. And I see, cooperation possibilities in basically all the sustainable technologies, whether that's hydrogen or wind power or solar, and also other areas like recycling, for instance. Because I think that Germany has a very different approach to recycling than Japan, and we can learn from each other a lot. On the other hand, when I have visitors from Germany come to Japan, they are always amazed at the public transportation here in Japan, how well it works. So I think we also have to give a lot of credit to what Tokyo's already doing. I think if you come here as a foreign visitor, it already is in many ways a very sustainable designed city. And I think together we can even leverage this more.
Yes, it's interesting. So you can learn not only the climate action, but also recycling. And then I know Tokyo also good for recycling policy. So yeah, you may have more chances business. Thank you so much. Okay, then next I would like to ask Morisawa-san. And then, yeah, when we talk about the COP, I feel that the many actions, not only coming from the local action, local government, but also business side. Yeah, when I visit the COP, I found so many business leaders getting together in a COP. So, Morisawa-san, also I thanks to CDP, because CDP system is support like the business side to do having the good evaluation for the business climate actions. And so, yeah, what is your observation, or what is your suggestion for the local government side? Business side needs more action, and how you think that the local government side need to respond?
Thank you very much. Can you show my slide? Just as Mr. Fujino asked, the businesses are taking actions, and the companies around the world are now have to reform their management and disclose information. So cities like Tokyo is a home to many large corporations, and the policies of local government can have impact on large corporations, and that impact can spread to other parts of the world where their plants and supply chains are located. Just as Governor Koike said, the next generation solar cell is very promising. The buildings and automobiles, and maybe on a hat, you can apply this, and depending on the policy, you can encourage the innovation of the businesses. By the policy to encourage the development of innovations, you can promote innovations, and you can have a good cycle of development of innovation. And I think it is also important that the cities disclose information in line with the international standard. So at CDP, we are working for the information disclosure of local communities, and Tokyo has been rated A in CDP cities for 3 years in a row. So Tokyo collects and evaluates and the data, and they also work out the plans to adapt and mitigate the effects of climate change. And they also think about the impacts and benefit for various sectors and vulnerable people. Tokyo has set a target which is based on scientific evidence, and now it is being a leading example of the world. I took the example of Tokyo today, but there are other cities which is showing good examples, including Kuala Lumpur. And by sending out such messages to the world, I think it can give impact. It can have impact on other cities around the world.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
So then CDP not only work for the business, but now cities and then, yeah, so city also take the good transparency policies. Thank you so much. And so city, Hanim-san, so Kuala Lumpur city is also C40 and also like ICRE and then a good collaborator with Tokyo. So please share a lesson learned from the like a city to city collaboration and also aspirations for COP29.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fujino-san. The Kuala Lumpur Climate Action Plan 2050 was developed in collaboration between KL City Hall and C40. This plan includes several policies aimed at reducing the impact of urban climate change, such as the development of low carbon building checklists and the study of the Kuala Lumpur Zero Carbon Emission Building Roadmap 2050. We have implemented energy efficiency in the majority of our facilities, followed by renewable energy to achieve our target to carbon neutrality. To complement our path towards carbon neutrality, I am pleased to introduce the Kuala Lumpur City Hall Energy Management Plan 2050 was launched by KL Mayor in September this year, which is another vital step our ongoing energy transition. Kuala Lumpur's involvement in international network like C40 and its collaboration with the Tokyo significantly enhances its climate action efforts. Collaboration with Tokyo brings valuable expertise in energy efficiency, carbon neutrality, and sustainable infrastructure. As Kuala Lumpur prepares for COP29, it aims to demonstrate leadership aligned with global climate goals, advocate for sustainable development, and forge new partnerships while actively participating in global climate discussion to showcase its progress and contribute to meaningful solutions. A significant factor in lowering the obstacles in our way of trying to implement creative policy solutions is intercity collaboration. A unified voice of state, national, and international policies can be developed and strengthened by Kuala Lumpur City Hall through involvement in city-to-city cooperation. Everything mentioned here helps ensure that COP29 goes smoothly in Baku. We are certain in our participation in Baku will have an even greater impact on our mission of Kuala Lumpur City Hall, which is to become a carbon neutral city by 2030 and a low carbon city by 2030. Thanks to our experience with city-to-city cooperation created with several nations worldwide. To achieve carbon neutrality, we need everyone's support, and we need to do this together. This is the time to act. Mayor Maimunah believed in the power of partnership. What she said, or called the 4 Ps: public, private, people, and partnerships. Kuala Lumpur is ready to lead, working with broad range of stakeholders and cities around the world to build momentum in tackling this climate crisis. Now, before I give to you, I need a permission to share my mayor message video. Thank you.
メッセージメイヤービデメイヤーのビデオメッセージ流していただけますか。
Her Excellency Yuriko Koike, Governor of Tokyo, His Excellency Gursel Ismailzada, Ambassador, Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Azerbaijan to Japan, Mr. Mark Watts, Executive Director, C40 Cities Climate Leadership Group, Ms. Angelica Nunes, Practice Manager, Urban, Resilient and Land Global, distinguished guests, esteemed organizers, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks for your kind invitation to participate in this important forum. It is with sincere regret that I'm unable to attend in person due to prior commitments. I'm also seriously working to reduce my carbon footprint by connecting more effectively virtually. The Time to Act Forum is a significant platform for driving progress on sustainability and climate action issues that are close to my heart. This is also embedded in the Kuala Lumpur 2040 strategic plan. Let me assure you that Kuala Lumpur remains committed to the goals of this forum, and we fully support the collective efforts being made to create a more sustainable future for all. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is clear that urbanization has significantly contributed to the increase in greenhouse gas emissions. The effects are now being felt globally, but they are hitting the developing world hardest. Populations with the lowest carbon footprints are facing extreme weather, floodings, rising sea levels, and forest fires. This past summer brought record-breaking temperatures across the world. For us living in the tropics, extreme weather and supercharged climate events can occur at any moment. All of this means the urgency for both mitigation and adaptation measures that needs to be implemented by all cities, big and small. Please allow me to address you as the advisor to the COP29 presidency. The upcoming COP29 in November will be a crucial moment for tracking our progress towards new nationally determined contributions, or NDCs, based on the result of the global stock stake from COP28. Now, more than ever, we must work towards LDCs, locally determined contributions. As we gather here at the Time to Act Forum, I want to highlight the importance of declared actions. Each of you embody a declared action aimed at fulfilling our commitments under the Paris Agreement. For Malaysia, our declared action is clear. At the 2015 Paris Agreement Conference, Malaysia committed voluntarily to reducing national carbon intensity by 45% by the year 2030. As Mayor of Kuala Lumpur, I am pleased to announce that Kuala Lumpur is committed to reducing its carbon emissions by 70% by 2030. We want to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. On October 4, 2024, 3 catalytic flagship projects in Kuala Lumpur were launched, covering the 3 levels of Kuala Lumpur City Hall's Energy Management Plans 2050. Energy efficiency, or EE, renewable energy, or RE, and district cooling systems. These flagship projects are estimated to reduce more than 180,000 tons of carbon dioxide emissions over the next 25 years, setting a very visible bar for reducing the energy intensity of government buildings. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to see today's gathering as more than just a forum. It is a call to action. This is the time to act, and I believe in the power of partnership, what I call the 4 Ps, public, private, people partnership. Together, we must accelerate our actions to avoid exceeding the 1.5 degrees Celsius target. Kuala Lumpur is ready to lead, working with a broad range of stakeholders and cities around the world to build momentum in tackling this climate crisis. I'm confident that this forum will inspire cities to unite, strengthen communication with nations and non-state actors, and take decisive action to protect our people. More importantly, we will safeguard our cities for future generations. I wish you all a successful forum and meaningful discussions, and I look forward to the opportunity to collaborate with all of you in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hanim-san, for delivering your mayor's message. And then it's quite tough to add more. And so, but one thing I would also would like to say that we also need youth. And then I also appreciate the Governor Koike, also Tokyo Metropolitan Government. Today, we have 5 high school students from Fujimigaoka High School. Could you kindly stand up? They will visit Kuala Lumpur coming December, and then they will share their study to, you know, they have the field work in Japan, and then to show the result in the high school in Kuala Lumpur. So thank you very much. You are like a leader. Thank you so much. Hashima-san, we already time up, but 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
You join COP28.
Yes.
And then you will join COP29.
Hope to see Her Excellency at COP29. Yes.
Final word from you. 1 minute.
Okay. Very quickly. I think it's time for us to amplify the need for why we are all here. Ms. Angelina had mentioned about the ambitious goal that we all have, green financing. Green financing is not just a tool, it's a lifeblood for any ambitious climate action plan. Financing climate action should not be limited to local resources. It must be a global effort where cities and nations work together to unlock the potential of green investment, exactly what Tokyo Metropolitan Government is doing right now. It's time to develop cities and financial powerhouse to step up and recognize the untapped potential in emerging nations. I believe that we can create the mechanism that lower the cost of capital for green projects, de-risk investment through public-private partnership, and establish a funding pool dedicated to innovation in climate solution. I should not ignore the fact that Mr. Evan has mentioned that more than $100 billion, which was mandated by the United Nations Framework Convention, UNFCCC, for US to assist in climate finance, is finally here, and it has been a great news to all the countries. So, Her Excellency, for Johor to the world, as I mentioned earlier, for Johor to Tokyo City, let our call resonate with the force of 1,000 waves, reaching every shore and stirring action in cities far and wide. So, the 58 minutes before the 60-second. Thank you, Fujino-san. Let us rise to the challenge and transform ambition into achievement, shaping a world where sustainability is not just an exception, but an expectation, where it is just not an ideal, but the very essence of our existence. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, all the panel members, leaders, and then also So COP29 slogan is in solidarity for a green world. So we should do so. Okay. So thank you so much, and then yes, please give you a big applause to the all the panelists. Yeah, thank you so much. ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for such a lively and engaging discussion. So let's have a big applause for the speakers. Thank you very much. Now we are at the final part of our program. I'd like to invite His Excellency, Mr. Gürsel Ismailzadeh, Ambassador of Azerbaijan to Japan, to deliver today's closing remarks. Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining us today. Please, the floor is yours.
Honorable Governor of Tokyo, Madam Koike Yuriko, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and especially to Governor Koike for inviting me to Time to Act Forum 2024. It's a pleasure to give a closing remarks at the esteemed and important forum. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government's contribution and role in addressing issues related to the environmental problems and climate change are highly valued. Time to Act forums, which was organized for the first time in 2021, are an excellent platform to discuss climate actions and exchange views on mentioned issues. Climate change is a global challenge that goes beyond national borders. The threat of climate change, manifesting as increased heat, drought, and flooding due to greenhouse gas emissions, remains a global challenge. Climate change is not a future risk. It's a real and present danger. So, Governor Koike, we fully agree with you. It's time to act now. To address issues by climate change, the Conference of the Parties, COP, under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, plays an important role and supports the global response to the threat of climate change. Azerbaijan was chosen to host COP29 in November 2024 with unanimous support from all countries. It shows the recognition of Azerbaijan's leadership and efforts in addressing climate change at the national, regional, and global scales. We embrace environmental protection as one of the main directions of our domestic and foreign policies. Azerbaijan is deeply committed to environmental sustainability, investing significantly in renewable energy sources. Today, Azerbaijan is regional leader in green energy transition. In the recent years, we have been prioritizing green projects all over the country. Financing the renewable energy sector, such as solar and wind energy investment in Azerbaijan, is an example of thoughtfulness through climate action. By 2030, the government aims to increase renewable energy share to 30% of national energy balance, creating approximately 5,000 megawatts of renewable capacity from solar, wind, and hydropower. The year 2024 has been proclaimed as the Green World Solidarity Year in Azerbaijan, underscoring our dedication to environmental stewardship. The Presidential Order Azerbaijan 2030, National Priorities for Socio-Economic Development, emphasize our commitment to fostering a clean environment and promoting green grows. Regions like Karabakh, East Zengezur, and Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic are designed green energy zones, highlighting our strategic environmental initiatives. And these regions will be net zero emission zones by 2050. To host COP29 is a significant milestone for Azerbaijan. We are dedicated to further promoting global solidarity and unity in addressing the challenge of climate change. During our presidency, we will do our best to make a meaningful contribution to this urgent cause. At the same time, Azerbaijan seeks to use the opportunity of hosting COP29 to promote global peace and stability. Conflicts are a significant source of greenhouse gas, 5.5%. It also makes affected areas inaccessible and unusable, with long-lasting impact on the soil, water basins, and natural sinks like forest. Azerbaijan has presented COP29 Truth Initiative, which will be embedded at joint solemn appeal for COP29 Truth. We call all parties stand in unity and respect truth during the months of COP29. We believe COP29 will be a force for good connecting North, South, East, West, and being a chance to put differences aside and to contribute to both global peace and climate agenda. Using this opportunity, I would like once again to thank Madam Governor Koike-san and also Metropolitan Government for organizing such a important forum. And I look forward to welcoming all of you in Baku for COP29 next month. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. And next, Governor Koike will have a message for this forum. And the speakers, please come back to the stage again. Excuse me, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Your Excellency, Ambassador Ismailzadeh, for delivering the message to conclude this forum. And also, I'd like to thank Angelica Nunes for delivering such an important keynote speech. I also would like to thank Mayor of Kuala Lumpur, Madam Maimna, with such an aspiration and determination, and I'm looking forward to meet her very soon. And distinguished panelists, all the panelists, for contributing such an important, for delivering such an important message for us. And thank you for deepen the this forum, the content of this forum very much. Now today, all of the panelists show their advanced efforts to accelerate climate action in cities and around the world. And countries around the world need to strengthen both their goals and efforts. And now, we have reaffirmed the importance of cross-border cooperation among local governments, companies, and other various entities. Now, I'd like to announce the results of today's discussion here as a message to the whole world, entitled Cities Calling for World Climate Action. Cities calling for world climate action. I'm very proud to be able to participate in COP29 next month with this message. And we have been able to hold this forum at a time when interest in climate change is increasing worldwide. Time to act. Now is the time to accelerate actions and let us all work together and combine our efforts to take on the crisis in front of us. So thank you very much. ありがとうございました。Thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This brings us to the end of the Time to Act Forum 2024. Thank you all once again for being with us today. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Goodbye and take care. ただいまより記念撮影を行います。